I would say the only videos I've watched that were actually kind of respectful and actually were productive were Jeff streams about PTSD.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of did a stream, not directly linked to it,
The
but
only videos
because it
I've
was talking
watched that
about
were
other
actually kind
things
of
as well, like
respectful
Crab's
and
video.
actually
But I
were
streamed with
productive were
a few
Jeff
people. It
streams
was
about
quite sort of respectful, not really sort of making that many jokes. I mean, there were a few jokes, but nothing to do with the skeptic feminist situation. It was just kind of I can't remember, but it was just it wasn't. It was taking that with a degree of severity, if you will, a degree of sincerity. Shu and Armored Skeptic have been really good on this issue as well.
For the most part, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. All right, and it looks like we are live now. Finally, fucking stream. Swear to God, if my internet shits out on me today like it has recently, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Wait, what are you using to stream? Are you using like OBS or something?
XSplit.
Okay, well, same thing. I just use Hangouts, like Hangouts on air, like if you're doing a Hangout, or do you want to like show stuff on your screen and all that kind of thing?
Well, I'm kind of a stickler for the overlays and everything. So I'm sure
All
at
right.
some point I'll get lazy and just use Hangouts on air.
Hmm. That's what I always do. It's just really easy to set up.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no doubt about it.
I might do some OBS streams where I like play games. I might do the. I'm tempted to do the. Although you need 100 subscribers to live stream, don't you, or something weird like that, right?
Um, I think so. I think you need 100 subscribers to live stream. I think maybe, but I
at
do know you
Google.
need I do know you need 1,000 subscribers to live stream from your phone.
Okay. Because I might as well just do it on my main channel because I was going to do the Uncucking Sweden gameplay maybe live. I think you know about that, Nascatan. I'm basically going to play Civ 5 on probably Immortal difficulty. I won't play on Deity because Deity is atrocious as Sweden.
Oh God,
And
yeah.
I wanted to do it on my second channel. Like I might just end up putting it into clips and like putting it on my second channel, things like that. Do like a sort of let's play of it, which would be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Sweden, are any of you guys on the Swedish government's block list?
Not yet.
Well, how do I search that exactly?
Hold on, I'm doing it right now.
I think Nescatan could probably find it and link you to the actual website that has all of the blocked names and just search your Twitter handle.
As it currently stands, Fox, you are not on their list.
I've not made the list.
No.
Nope, neither have I, and I'm rather disappointed by that. You'd have thought that I'd made their list after all those tweets that I made, just going like, nigger kike spick, honky
Well,
chink.
that's actually not a bad thing because then more people will be able to see like what I have to say, especially from Sweden, because I'm not one of those people that's just like, "Lo, Sweden are cucks, LMAO." Like I'm willing to actually reason, Check if someone like Jeff Holiday or Nick Goroff is on there because they're two people.
Oh, they are.
Are they?
No, I think Jeff is. I know Dave, Blair, Tim.
Dave is in who?
Dave Rubin. Yeah, he's on there. And a few other people.
Yeah,
Just wanted to say you can live stream with any number of subscribers. I could live stream. I have like 6.
Oh yeah, that's true. They don't have a limit on you being able to stream. They don't have a minimum for that, but they only have a minimum for if you're doing it on your phone.
Okay, so theoretically, I could set up OBS. I'll probably do like an OBS setup stream on my second channel, and I'll try and get it to run Civ like at the same time. I don't know. Sweden in that game is. We are live now, aren't we? So you're just probably
Yes,
hearing
we are live
Civ.
right now.
So like your subscribers are just hearing me talk about Civ 5, but should we just move on to the sort of main article, I guess?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think anybody's watching right now because I am a shit channel and a shit Twitter.
How about
We shill.
Oh, yeah.
Collectively shill
Yes,
as
yes.
hard as we can.
Everyone, shill the shit out of the stream. Get some people in here. Shill me, Daddy. Shill me harder.
Yep, I'm shilling you, and I'm going to go to the toilet while I've shilled you.
No problem. Goddamn foxes always running off to do their business.
Yeah. No superior bladder control. Would make horrible pets.
So I've heard. I've heard the horror stories.
Well, I guess you could get like a regular red fox, or you could shell out the money for the Russian domesticated fox.
Yeah. Ugh. I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I don't know if I want to blow, $50,000 on a fucking fox. Or is it?
They're
I
normal.
mean,
They were like
if you're
10
Bill Gates,
I think they're now. I think
So-
they're like $10,000 now.
I don't know. How much for the other kind of fox, like the really pissed off psychotic foxes? One of the.
That
Can you
costs a
get-
lot of money to get a pissed off fox.
No, but like because they tamed the Russian experiment was they tamed half the foxes so that they would be super friendly to humans, and then they bred for aggression in the other half, so like they'll try and fucking murder you. So can I get like $200 a head for killer foxes?
What is this about killer foxes? I just came back.
Have you heard of the Russian fox breeding experiments?
Yeah, I know. Not so much the killer fox, but I've actually heard of the opposite, like sort of domesticated foxes to be pets.
They did 2 studies. They bred for passivity, and they also bred in half of them for aggression.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
Is there any like more to that?
I mean, more to that than like for some reason the really passive foxes ended up getting dog-like traits, I think, like floppy ears and piebald patterns.
Oh, that's interesting, actually. I suppose we could sort of move on to the sort of main discussion point, and that's sort of the reaction of reactionaries. Like, I'm gonna have to fucking hijack your stream, Naskatan.
Oh no, that I was just waiting for everybody to kind of get shit out of their system, and so we could, get onto the topic at hand. Because there is that. This is the one topic that we're gonna try to discuss and cover a bit. But once that's primarily out of the way, once that's primarily out of the way, then it's pretty much open forum.
But I suppose what I'll say, I mean, we're sort of covering the 2 topics that you said we'd be covering is the skeptic feminist incident, as well as the death of Roger Ailes, which I'm not as well versed in. So somebody else, I mean, I can contribute a little bit to that conversation, but not overly. So with regards to the skeptic feminist, I just find it absolutely astonishing that some people can act so without any kind of civility or gravitas with regards to the situation, and then claim, oh, we're here to replace the mainstream media. We're here to replace, we're here to reform the mainstream media even. And it's just, even the mainstream media, for all its flaws, doesn't go around going, lol, making these stupid fucking jokes, like deliberately trying to poke the fire, and what's more, the mainstream media can actually take, the mainstream media gets criticism leveled against it all the time, and from all kinds of angles, and a lot of it is unjustified, and a lot of it is justified, but they have to put up with that shit.
Well, true enough. I mean, that's just the inherent aspect of being a media source.
These people don't get near as much criticism as the mainstream media does, and yet they act upset when they get this kind of flack thrown at them. This is the path that they've chosen, in essence. If you want to be treated as a alternative to mainstream media, it comes with the pros and the cons. This isn't sunshine and rainbows to the media, and when you do something stupid, you will be called out on it. And whether or not you can, say what you will about the mainstream media, but they can usually rise above it in a sense.
True
Just
enough. And
taking
that's,
criticism with grace.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true enough. But I mean, when it comes to the issue with the skeptic feminist thing going on, honestly, my biggest point of contention, it honestly had to be the fact that there's certain sources I could expect to see the kind of shit and garbage reactions, those disgusting, distasteful reactions from. But what really disappointed me was the fact that I was seeing it from fucking everywhere, every side, every angle. There was just almost everybody was being shitty.
Whether they were doing it, yeah, they were. There was a lot of capitalism with regards to the, on both sides. Whether it be pushing it to say, oh well, feminism is a joke and feminism, and then there's also people saying, oh, don't, this is so tragic, this is so sad when a murder took place. I just think people are handling it like absolute children. On both sides of the conversation, people are acting this whole thing, this whole political debating realm, if you will, this whole intertwining communities are acting like fucking children. I'm sorry. Like, they really need to get both of them, and I think the skeptic community are the ones capable of doing such, need to get their thumbs out of their ass.
Well, yeah, you'd think they'd be capable, but fuck, there was that stream that that Sargon did recently. He had that guy T, I think, that guy T, Tyler, and a few others in there.
Well, that was kind of a separate thing. I think the V stream was more important. That other stream was just kind of a shit posting stream.
That guy T.
Regardless, it was the fact that they were just sitting there, it's basically just fucking joking about the entire thing and just making fun of it. It was laughing about it. It was horribly fucking distasteful. And it was
which I can understand, but you can't in the same breath say, oh, we want to replace mainstream media when you're doing shit like that. It's just absolutely inconsistent in the extreme.
Yeah, imagine if like a newspaper in the UK, there's a murder. They go, ha 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 ha.
Oh, trust me.
They'll be shut down immediately.
Trust me. The Daily Express and the fucking Daily Mail and the Sun, those papers don't come far. Even the Daily Mirror and the Star are pretty bad as well. Those papers don't come. Those papers come quite close to that. Like, literally,
tabloids. They're not even
tabloids,
newspapers. Yeah. It's fucking tabloids. It's just Rupert
Well,
Murdoch.
they like to call, with the Mail and the Express, they like to call them middle of the market, which is basically, oh, we're not tabloids, but we're not, serious papers like the Telegraph and the Times and the Guardian and the Eye and all that. And it's like, you're literally using a Trojan horse to push your agenda forward, and
essentially they describe themselves with kind of weasel words just to get around it.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand with this, like, how did feminism have anything to do with this incident? It mostly involved his own mental instability. That didn't have anything to do with feminism. Well,
I don't think that was the actual point being made in the stream. I think a few like randos on Twitter and YouTube were probably saying that, but I don't think that was the main point made on stream.
Oh no, I know it wasn't on stream, but like people like Paul Joseph Watson is like, feminist kills woman. Is like,
dude, what the hell do you expect from him? That guy.
Paul, come on. Paul is
some form of decorum and decency, and not some Alex Jones bull.
Paul.
Yeah, hang on. I just want to say something. People, I think, would have a lot more respect for the, quote unquote skeptic community, and the people that I'm sort of talking about, Sargon, and actually, I did talk to Krell a few days ago, and he feels very similar to me about the retrograde right and people like Paul Joseph Watson and others from that crowd. He feels very similar to me. So
has he calmed down a bit, because he did seem very upset during the whole spinal thing?
Well,
did you see him on the V stream?
Well, on the V stream, he actually apologized for something that he said with cognitive thoughts. He showed that on his second channel, so I appreciate crap for that. you know, my respect for Krat has actually come back talking to him in private. Even though I don't agree with everything that he said, I do have a lot more respect for him. And I even have respect for people like Sargon, because they're obviously very intelligent people and they offer, you know, a nice point of view. It's just when they do this and then they claim to be, you know, superior to the social justice warriors. No, you're just as bad when you're doing this
Like,
shit. I'm sorry,
as-
stoop to their level.
Especially because like they hate, oh, look at these politicians corrupt by money. You, sir, pander to the right because it makes you money, so you're not that fucking different. It's called money. People fucking do it. I'm sorry, you're not clean just because you're not a politician. Everybody's corrupt. Everybody is a price, and I know it because I come from a country where everyone is corrupt. You can pretty much come here and bribe everyone and nobody will care. Actually, they'll ask you for more the next time.
Yeah, it's just
I don't know.
it's
The
just
whole fucking
absolutely
thing just
disgusting.
fucking. The whole fucking thing just. I was so fucking pissed off. I swear to God. Just
And both sides are bad as well.
everyone on every goddamn side was just using. They were using the entire situation, a fucking tragedy, as you know,
Like, I'm just
some kind of fucking some bat to beat people with and make political attacks and score some fucking brownie
when,
points.
from all we know and what the story is telling us, it has nothing to do with politics in any sense of the word. Because at least with something like a terrorist attack, you can discuss, you know, the cause of the cause was Islam. So, you know, you can talk about Islam and things like that. But this just seems like something that was done for, I don't know, very kind of personal reasons.
It's
which
domestic
obviously
violence.
Here's the thing though, whose side was he on? Like this is kind of the disconnect I'm getting, because he was not, I would call him an SJW in any sense of the word. He was very critical of Islam, and he got along well with Reese. A nightmare fuel.
Reese isn't really sort of on the
No,
skeptic
but-
side.
right, but he's not also on really the SJW side.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Right.
I'm not saying. Hang on. Sorry, I keep getting interrupted by my bitch sister. Sorry.
This is why I live alone.
Well, inherently, the situation is the fact that, you know, one or both of them involved, you know, happen to be feminists. You know, people ended up taking that and started using it as some kind of stick to, you know, beat people with and score brownie points and make political attacks and personal attacks, and then people started having discussions about you know, the fact that, you know, he has PTSD, and then a lot of people were throwing up in the air, well, you know, where's the evidence he has PTSD? Was he ever diagnosed, et cetera, et cetera? Is he an actual combat veteran? Yada yada yada.
Yeah,
and then,
he is.
And then the conversation started to devolve, and then, you know, every goddamn side was just using the entire situation to
why does this
beat
even
people.
need to be that much of a big conversation? Like, it's not really anything political. It's just a tragedy, really.
No, it's not. It's not political, but that's what was pissing me off so much, is that everyone was using it as everyone was using it as a method to make political attacks. That was my issue with it, and then it started getting personal, and then people started to, you know, delve into the whole, was it PTSD, or was it domestic violence, or was it both, or whatever, and then, like, Amazing Atheist, TJ Kirk, set up that fucking donation thing for donations to a domestic violence charity or something, and then he started getting people giving him shit about that, saying he was exploiting the situation.
Well, he's not getting a dime from it.
Like,
you know?
that's
he's not
like,
getting a dime from that. That's not him exploiting the situation.
Exactly, and that's
any kind of
like Tim
moral,
Blake was.
you know.
Tim Blake was giving him shit about it,
Well, yeah, you know what?
saying he was exploiting the situation. I told Tim, I'm like, he'd only be exploiting it if he was just keeping all the damn money. He's not getting a penny. This is going to a genuinely good cause. What's your problem?
Like, I could see the argument sort of moral grandstanding in a sense, but even then, I think that's an uncharitable interpretation. I mean, that's really jumping to the least charitable interpretation. I think that's something people would do. That's something that people would do out of genuine goodness out of their heart. I think TJ is someone who is capable of doing good things, and I think that was one of them.
Yeah, generally,
I
but
could see an argument for the idea that it's going for victims of domestic abuse, that it's implying that he was beating her regularly, instead of this being like a spur of the moment shooting thing. Like maybe, I don't know, Veterans Health or Mental Health for Veterans Association would be better, but
well, and see, that's the thing, is that the
like you have to at least admit that the intentions are good on TJ's behalf.
Yeah.
Which is,
well, see, that's the thing, because we don't know all the details about whatever
Right.
that circumstance or relationship was. There could have been circumstances of domestic violence. We don't know. But the funny part is that the same people fucking calling TJ out for this fucking domestic violence donation thing, you didn't hear a fucking peep out of them for people who were doing money raising for PTSD charities or anything like that. It's like, I can understand if you're gonna start lashing out at people and saying that they're exploiting the situation, but if you're gonna do it, you at least have some fucking standards and go both ways. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you know what would be really ironic if skeptic feminists is actually found innocent? Like, oh, this nothing. It's kind of like, oh,
no. Let's not even go down that route, man.
Yeah,
Like-
No. There's no what if about that. They arrested him and flat out said they are not looking for another suspect. I'm pretty sure they are damn confident it was him.
I don't even
Yeah.
think he wants to be let go. I just think he just wants to go in prison and just.
for like, oh, that's the verdict. I'm just waiting
Yeah.
for the court verdict. Oh, okay.
It's just a difficult situation to talk about, in general. I mean, it's bad enough that this thing has happened so close in our sort of personal debate circles, and then you get people, not laughing at the victim by any means, but sort of laughing at sort of the incident and what happened, and people getting morally grandstanding about how wrong that is and trying to virtue signal, and it's just a complete fucking clusterfuck. Can't we just accept that it was just a tragedy, and just move on? That's what I want people to fucking do. All right, that's what I really want people to do.
It'd be nice if people could actually, see this just for what it is. It's a tragedy. Don't morally grandstand. Don't exploit it. Don't laugh about it. It just fucking happened. Don't fucking laugh about it or make jokes about it. And don't
I mean, if
don't
you can't-
use it
if you
as some
can't
kind of
handle
stick to beat
something-
people with and make political and personal attacks. Don't exploit it as some method to push your narrative, whatever it may be. Just for fuck's sake, it's a tragedy.
Well,
Treat it as such.
If some people out there are using this also for money, kind of like just pointing and say, yeah, now give me money, please.
And
Stupid.
that's one of the worst things that's going on, is that some people are genuinely exploiting it.
I mean, I don't monetize any of my videos, but Stir asked me if I was monetizing my stream, where we were sort of talking about it, and there are sort of a lot of people that take this kind of thing. I remember when I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Jew Wario thing, but he was a member of Channel Awesome, Nostalgia Critics, Doug Walker's company in a sense, and he took his own life. And Angry Joe, who's like part of Channel Awesome, or like good friends and associates with them at the least, he made like a video that was apparently monetized, and he got absolute shit for it in a sense, when he was sort of talking about the passing of someone he considered a friend. So it's a very touchy topic for some people.
Well, as it should be, because it should be a touchy subject when somebody dies, somebody takes their own life, somebody gets killed, whatever it may be. If a life is lost, it should be a touchy subject. It should be touchy. It should be, something to kind of tiptoe around and be careful with, and
I mean,
not do anything.
The issue: people aren't handling this with care or decency or even civility, or
Not
not
even
even
close.
trying to.
The
Like, at
overwhelming
least if you
majority
make
of
the
people I've
effort.
seen, even remarking on this situation, is they're just, it's all just
Autistic
tasteless, classless, just completely apathetic bullshit. They're all, almost everyone I've seen remarking on this is just trying to use it in some way for themselves. And it's
I've just seen
disgusting.
Nick
I mean,
Ape,
when it happened, I tweeted out that it was just very, very sad that that had happened. Like, with someone because our sort of communities, you know, the social justice community, the alt-right community, the mainstream conservative community, like, we all sort of intertwine in a way. So when someone in that community, you know, dies, I mean, I never had any interaction with the skeptic feminists by any means. Either of the people, but you know, I'd seen that they hosted the stream between Christy Winters and Sargon, the debate between them, and I know they've made a few videos as well, and they were feminists, but they sort of questioned themselves on that belief. I don't know whether that was Russian Deadpool or Harley or Ivy or whatever. I don't know who was the main one, because it was sort of a three-person effort, but yeah, it's just a very, you know, complicated situation that we as a community should, as, you know, collective communities, then, if that's probably a better way to say it, should just avoid talking about, like, because we're not going to get anywhere with, you know, stooping this low.
Well,
Just let it die.
Well, see, and I can understand that to an extent, but at the same time, I do think it is something that should be talked about. But I think it's something that, if you're going to talk about it, show a little care and show a little goddamn respect.
Oh, that's asking for too much from people in this community.
I know. It's asking for too much from, you know, from the social justice left, from the alt-right, from the skeptics, from the feminists. It's asking too much of all these goddamn people.
You know what?
I can still try and ask. I mean, shit.
I've yet to see Naked Ape make a video on this, because I'm like, okay, if he holds back on this, I'm gonna say good job. But if he does and he mocks it, I'm like, okay, dude, seriously. And then you wonder why people hate you.
Well, best thing for Naked Ape to do is just don't even talk about it. Like, you know.
Yeah, the best thing Naked Ape could do is just shut his fucking mouth for now, unless he has something respectful and tasteful to at least comment on, and not use it in a manner that's, you know, pushing a narrative, or, you know, trying to be funny or any of that shit.
Condolences for your loss. I don't know, I don't know what happened, but I hope everyone who's okay can pull through from
which is fine and understandable, because if you at least have, you know, a fairly firm grasp of the situation, it would be at least understandable, you know, and respectful to, you know, if you're going to make a video on it, just explain, you know, simply, here's what I'm aware of so far, and, you know, I offer my condolences, my deep, heartfelt condolences, et cetera, you know, for all, you know, you can even go so far as to say, you know, if there's, you know, any way I could possibly help this situation, that'd be fantastic. I would love to, and offer your apologies for their loss, but do not, I swear to fuck, do not politicize it. Do not use it as a stick to beat your opposition with. Do not exploit it or take advantage of it. Which is why I have to at least give some respect to TJ Kirk for the video he did. That, you know, it was very level-headed of him. It was a very level-headed video.
And other people as well, you know, Jeff Holiday, you know, always liked Jeff. He's one of the coolest guys in our sort of quote-unquote community. Shoe on Head and I'm a Skeptic also did a very good job addressing the issue. But I think this sort of stems into a larger point, because we had the whole mocking Thunderfoot when his dad died whole thing, which I think was probably worse when the social justice warriors took that as a way to mock Thunderfoot. I think that was probably worse overall.
Overall, I wouldn't necessarily say it was worse. But
well, maybe not in terms of the actual circumstances that had happened, but with the way people reacted to it.
In terms of the circumstances, no, it wasn't worse. But in terms of their reaction to it, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think it was disgusting.
That's what I was trying to say. that was what I was trying to say, and I think a lot of people. I think what Kevin Logan, I don't have any evidence for this, but I think what Kevin Logan did with his whole video response about it was he took he when Thunderfoot mentioned it, he did something like, "Oh, do you want a cookie?" or something like that. Like it wasn't overly sort of. It was sort of more of an insult towards.
It wasn't
Thunderfoot. And it's still
extreme.
fucking
It wasn't.
bullshit.
It wasn't blatantly horrible, but it's the fact that he just straight up was mocking him for it.
Yeah, and it was bullshit, and it's complete. I'm not defending Kevin by any means. I've called Kevin out on this before, even though he's obviously apologized for it. And Jenny McDermott's video was obviously a fuck ton worse than Kevin's video.
Oh
but,
God, why have you even
Oh
mentioned?
god, that
God.
that woman just—it's kind of like every time I see her face, I just remember the whole when TJ and his friends were like commenting on her video. I'm like, if I that woman just never even around my town. If she doesn't, if she gets in, I'm gonna censor, and I'm just gonna freaking follow her around just all the time. I'm just gonna annoy her.
Does
until
he
she
still have a
leaves.
channel, or did she just leave because she realized no one took her seriously at all?
I don't know. I really don't know. Seriously.
I'm not sure. I haven't really paid that close
Maybe-
attention, honestly.
Maybe she changed her name to Lauren Southern and migrated to Rebel Media. They're both blonde and they're both incredibly stupid. So that could happen.
But what was I saying about? That situation was probably worse in terms of how people reacted to it, and specifically the SJW crowd. But it really comes across like, even if you think. It really stems from the sort of eye for an eye sort of philosophy that, because they did that to us, we must do it to them back, in a sense. And it's just, why? Why do you feel the need to stoop to their level? I'm not saying what you're doing is worse by any means. I'm just saying you're getting dangerously close to that level. Why can't you handle this like an adult? It would speak volumes about how much better you are than them.
Yeah,
Instead,
they're
it's just making you out to be just as bad as them, and you're
'cause
giving those
you would
SJWs
think
ammunition.
you would think that particularly among the skeptic TM community, you would think that they love to tout themselves for the most part as being so rational and level-headed and everything. You'd think they would at least you'd think that at least have the state of mind, to the self-awareness to be able to say, all right, I am not going to stoop to their level. I am not going to use their tactics. I'm going to come at this carefully. I'm going to come at it carefully, respectfully, try to be,
Or
neutral.
as Fox said, just to shut up, just have the self-restraint to not go to, say, the skeptic feminist Twitter and then just post fucking post after post of, oh, you killed your girlfriend.
Like, even at this point, even sort of the damage control posts. I mean, the initial damage control posts I really respect, but even now, the sort of damage control posts about it, while very good intentioned, and I'm not going to demonize anyone for it, I still think that those sort of posts are now feeding into the fire that has already been created. And at this point, it's best to just bail out, let that fire eventually burn out, and mock anyone, of course, that goes too fucking far. Of course, by all means, make those people into idiots, because they are, and but otherwise don't engage in this kind of conversation anymore, because I think what needs to be said has already been said by people like Jeff Holiday, Armor Skeptic, Shu, TJ, and some other people as well.
Yeah, I mean,
even Charming Man 93, I thought his video on that whole thing, he made a couple of videos on it. I thought those videos were very good, and Sargon was reasonably decent on his stream with V about it. So there are some good attributes, some good qualities, of people being shown in this. It's not all doom and gloom in a sense, but I think we should just fucking shut up and try and move on, because I think that's probably for the best for everybody involved in this whole thing.
Well, inherently, and that's primarily why I didn't really touch on the issue at all. That's why the main focus of what I was saying, even in relation to it, was primarily just trying to call people out on the bullshit and just trying to call people out and get people to shut the fuck up. Because
I think for me personally,
it turned to chaos real quick.
For me personally, I didn't care up until it came up because I have something closer to home, which if you have heard, like I think a few days ago, Lauren Southern was arrested by the police here because she broke the law and she acted like, "Oh, how dare you arrest me? I was just saving your country," you know. For a person that says that Europe is too soft on foreigners when they bring.
Oh, you got cut off there, mate.
When she gets arrested, yeah, it's that for a person like Lauren Southern, it's kind of like. The Europe is too soft on the fucking foreigners who break the law, and then she comes to Italy and breaks the law, and she acts surprised. Oh, I got arrested. What the hell is going on here? Is Europe going mad? It's like, oh, okay. So when you break the law, carte blanche, just do whatever the hell you want. When a Muslim does it,
the whole Lauren Southern situation, honestly, it's kind of a good metaphor for a lot of these things lately. It's a good metaphor because it's a whole hypocritical circumstance of double standards. That's primarily what it was.
And it's vigilantism is the best way I can describe it. Even if you think it's what you're doing is right or correct, which is debatable.
Fox, what happened? What she did was not vigilantism. What she did was obstruction of rescue efforts, because that
no. Let's look at this actually, because it was what she did. Let's look at completely what she did. It was an NGO, so a non-governmental organization, basically about to go out. We don't know where it was going to go out to. Apparently, it was Libya. That's probably just the narrative they're trying to spin. It was going apparently to Libya, and she was, trying to signal the flares to get people to notice it and to stop them, and then she ended up getting stopped. So what I think she was trying to do, it does sort of scream a little bit of attempted vigilantism, of her trying to take the law into her own hands and getting punished for it.
What happened, according to the Coast Guard report, was that there was a shipwreck of the boats that bring the smugglers that bring in the migrant, and according to international maritime law, which Italy is signed to, obviously, other boats are obligated to help those ship people that have been shipwrecked. You have to rescue them from the water. And basically, what her boat did was get in the way, and it's kind of like you call the cops when they're in the middle of stopping a robbery. What the fuck are you doing? You're getting in the way. Go away.
So I think I have a better metaphor. It's if a cop is trying to get into someone's house and you're blocking their way, in a sense. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, it basically, there's a robber inside the house and you're just blocking his way. She was signaling also, misuse of flares, because it was only supposed to be used for emergency. That's the least that she got fucking flack for. But the biggest one is obviously obstruction of rescue. There were other independent boats that, by maritime law are forced to rescue people who have been shipwrecked. Even if they're fucking illegals, you're forced to. I'm sorry, that's just how it works. And
I'm trying to sort of look at it from both perspectives, but even when I'm looking at it from both perspectives, the most charitable interpretation that I can get from Lauren Southern's actions, as defined by the law, is vigilantism. She is trying to take the law into her own hands. I think you're sort of looking at it more from the other sort of point of view, and I'm not defending Lauren Southern by any means. She broke the law, even with a most charitable interpretation. But
she didn't break the law anyway, because you're blocking rescue operation, and that's a felony.
But she thought that she was doing it for some righteous cause, and it's like, tough shit. You're still breaking the fucking law.
Yeah, I love the fact that after she got arrested, she tweeted, "I'm alive." It's like, Lauren, this isn't fucking Saudi Arabia. This is Italy. We're civilized. We're not gonna kill you. even though you cannot deserve it. It's kind of like, the Europeans are so weak when it comes to foreigners breaking the law. Okay, bitch, get out of my country.
And Lauren Southern,
Go do
Lauren
this shit.
Southern saying, "I'm alive," as if she'd been dragged off to the gulags or something.
Okay, our prisons are not the best in the world, but they're fucked on better than the ones in Russia.
Well, knowing Lauren Southern, and her general view of Europe, she probably basically thinks that all your prisons are fucking gulags because them evil socialists.
Oh
No,
God!
but-
Speaking of people, sort of, you're familiar with Blonde and the Belly of the Beast, aren't you? The person that's Spino debating. She does like videos. She made this absolutely horrendously bad video. It was basically she went on holiday to Sweden and she asked somebody for like directions, and the native Swedish people gave her directions, and then she attributed that as a sign of them being regressive and weak for helping her. And it's like, what the fuck are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to tell you to fuck up? I've got to link you to that, like something like the regressive gene or some bullshit like that. It's
Like,
You'll definitely have to link me to that because I need to take a look at that because I swear to God, if it's bad enough, I'll do a fucking reaction video.
So from that, so basically, foreigner comes to different country, asks for directions because I imagine they're trying to get somewhere, and the natives kindly tell them where it is.
She should learn to speak Swedish.
The fucking
how the altruism gene may eliminate the West. So it's classic pseudoscience.
How
Shouldn't we-
fucking dare someone
shouldn't
actually
we want
be
that like in
fucking
other countries?
courteous?
Like if I go to like Japan or like Nigeria and I ask like one of the locals, how do I get to such and such city? And they said, like, oh, it's just take this road here and take a left.
Asian genocide.
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
destroying Eastern culture.
look.
No. Do you know what we should do actually is on the stream, because there's 5 of us. I think that's the right amount of people to do it with. We could, since you're using XSplit, this isn't through Hangouts, you could sort of set up XSplit to sort of broadcast the video. We'll all sort of watch it through something like Watch Together, like a website like that, and then we can sort of pause it and make our sort of comments on it because it's just so bizarre.
Well,
it is so.
Well, I have to be
why these
perfectly
people
honest.
don't
I
get
don't know
away
how to. I don't know how to do that all. I don't know how to do all that right now. I'd have to figure it out because I'm a fucking retard.
I know.
But I could
know what I'm
definitely
doing.
save it for another stream, and
I'm
let y'all
thinking
know
of
about
doing, like something like that in the future. If someone makes a particularly bad video, I'll invite people on, and then we'll sort of comment on it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know what the hell I'm doing if she comes to my country and asks me for direction. I'm gonna tell her, how about you go back to your fucking land and stay away from mine? Is that good enough for you?
You might respect that way. Be careful.
Yeah, it's kind of like
True nationalism.
It's kind of like that phrase. It's people. Some people say it's scarier to have a crazy person that loves you instead of a crazy person that hates you. I can sort of see that argument.
Inherently, yeah. But anyways, let's go ahead now, and I'm sure we'll probably touch back on a few different subjects like the skeptic feminist thing and Lauren Southern and all that, a few other things. I'm positive we'll probably veer back in that direction at some point. But for now, I think I'd like to bring up Roger Ailes. So, Roger Ailes died, I believe it was today, this morning. Roger Ailes being the founder and original CEO and chairman of Fox News. He died, I think he was 77 years old, I think it was.
78.
And he passed away this morning, just this morning. And his wife put out a letter and everything, and his wife and son put out a letter. And it's a tragedy. It's sad. I mean, the man was old, and all the shit he had to go through, and the issues about the sexual harassments and all that nonsense and everything that went on. I'm pretty sure that was pretty trying on him in his old age. But the man, essentially, the circumstance comes down to he just fucking died.
Yeah, he fell and hit his head. So.
Which is
that's how he died?
Yeah, he actually fell down and hit his head. I don't know where he hit his head, but it wasn't his home. But I don't know how it happened, but it's kind of like I'm looking at the report. It's like, oh, he fell down and hit his head. I'm like, okay, you know.
Which kind
Not
of
the
makes it
nicest way
even
to go.
fucking that kind of makes it even fucking worse because it'd be one thing if he just kind of died in his sleep or didn't wake up one morning. It's another thing if it's an accident. And so that kind of makes it even a little fucking worse when you look at something like this tweet from Cenk Uygur.
Oh yeah,
who
that's
said-
the first I saw of it.
Yeah, Cenk Uygur, who decided
Yep.
who decided the very day that Roger Ailes died, he's going to tweet, "Glad Roger Ailes lived long enough to get caught and die lonely and humiliated. That extra year of life cost him dearly."
That's
Wait,
just
wait.
disgusting. Man.
Wait. I thought this guy was married.
He
Roger
is.
Ailes?
He's married, has a son, and all that. But
How the hell did you say? How the fuck did Cenk it? Oh, he's alone. He's married, you dipshit. He doesn't.
I don't know. But the inherent problem is
I think
just
it was.
the inherent
Obviously
problem.
didn't research it.
Yeah,
Hold on, I'll
the inherent
explain it.
problem
Roger
is
Ailes
not.
had some sexual harassment deals going on in the last year, so maybe Cenk assumed his marriage was on the rocks after that was revealed. I don't know. Could be Cenk speculating.
Hey,
Which
unless there
may
was
have
any
been the case,
divorce.
Which may have been the case, but all that
Yeah.
aside, like I said, the man just fucking died. And this is the kind of shit you get out of, and this is the kind of shit you get from people like Cenk fucking Uygur.
It's the first I saw of it.
This is not something that you'd expect from a quote unquote political analyst, political pundit, if you will, especially for someone a network as big as the Young Turks. This is absolutely reprehensible.
I wouldn't even be so kind as to call him a fucking pundit. It's like I tweeted at you earlier. The best I could possibly do, and the best way I could possibly describe Cenk Uygur at this point in his life is he's a political activist at best. He's a sociopathic ideologue at worst.
A political activist with a very, very big company and media following, so he can push whatever he wants.
Which is true enough because the Young Turks they are a big platform, but you hear stories all the goddamn time of people who are just like, oh well, I used to watch the Young Turks, and this has been going on for like 2 years. I used to watch the Young Turks, and I mean that's exactly why my response to him, this is why so many people walk away from you and TYT Cenk, shitting on the recently deceased for your political brownie points. Fuck you. And of course, you get responses from people like fucking Mike Cernovich. Of course, this attitude is why the Young Turks have inspired multiple mass shooters. Wait, what?
Oh my god!
The fuck?
Yeah,
Wait,
that's-
what the fuck?
And then he just brings up Elliot Rodgers subscribing to the Young Turks, and it's just like, oh my god, Mike,
Yeah, it's
just
that's
Shut
fucking
the fuck up.
that's fucking Mike Cernovich for you. So clearly, just like
Mike
right here,
Cernovich.
right off the bat, we have Cenk being this shitbag trying to score his political brownie points, and then, top comment right here is, well, there's Mike Cernovich trying to score some political fucking brownie points. Fuck, it's on both ends of the spectrum here. It's on both sides. It's so fucking
Yeah.
Spectrum sure seems to be the term I would use.
to put it lightly.
yeah, well, yeah, and multiple spectrums. You know what I'm fucking talking about when it comes to Cenk. I'm convinced he has some kind of high functioning autism at this point.
Yeah, he sold his brain to someone to pay for his fucking food binge or something.
No. He got all that nice Qatari money.
Yeah, but then you see some of the then you see some of the fucking some of the fucking responses.
I didn't fucking know that the guy who found Fox News died. I'm literally sad now. It's kind of like, oh.
Yeah, but then you see some of the like these fucking responses, like have you considered writing greeting cards? Someone asked Cenk. What the fuck?
Is that? I think that might have been an ironic joke. Like, you write horrible fucking shit. I think that was a sarcastic post.
The entire response section to this tweet is just, thankfully, a beautiful example of people who are just sick of Cenk's shit, and other people who are just horrifically disagreeing with him, and sometimes going further. Like this one right here. You are disgraceful, showing the true colors of the left. Oh, you could have just stopped it. You are disgraceful, but no, you had to fucking
Yeah.
start politicizing it. Just shut the
Like
fuck up.
I hate that when it's like one person is shitty and has this certain opinion, so everyone who has this opinion is also a shitty human beings.
Yeah, then like fuck somebody. Like you are disgraceful, showing the true colors of the left, and the first person to
But
respond to that
why
person
are
is,
these
do you
people-
always expect a
why-
glowing memorial of a habitual sexual assaulter? Yes, because that's going to be the fucking focus right now on a guy who just died today. Yeah.
Why? Yeah, why is it?
Why?
Why can't we have sensible voices on the left and the right anymore, especially mainstream ones? Why is it like people like Cenk Uygur and Paul Joseph Watson? Why are these people selling on alternative media right now?
Well, see,
I'm
and this,
sorry.
it's
No,
this is exactly why they're selling on these.
I'm gonna have a rant now. Honestly,
Go ahead.
because I'm just.
I'm fine.
I
I'm
am.
fine.
I am so fucking tired. Why are people buying into this? These idiots who can't have no nuance, who can't accept any other ideas except from their own fucking camp. Why are they? Why are people buying into this? Why don't they buy into someone with, some medium of perspective, any kind of, nuance or
Because
perspective or anything? It's just, it's fucking
Because
annoying.
they've been told by other people the mainstream media is evil, and therefore they should only listen to them as their fucking gods. I'm like, you sound like a fucking
Even
propaganda.
then,
This is the
Even-
this is
even
the
then,
inherent fucking
even
problem.
then.
This is the inherent fucking problem here. Is all these people selling themselves as alternative fucking media or whatever it is. This is the inherent issue, is that all of them are just so fucking politicized to one extreme or the other, and they feed off of each other. They consistently feed off each other, and they only end up getting worse and worse and worse as time goes on. And so that's why, it started out pretty fucking tame a few years ago, and then it just got fucking worse as time went on.
Yeah, I
Last
mean,
2 years ago, it started kind of hitting
is
that.
probably, as bad as the mainstream media can get, at least they can handle things like this with at least some civility. But these fucking people.
The thing is, the mainstream media has to have stability because of how much of a name recognition they have.
I remember
they have
recently.
to
I remember
respond to
recently.
people.
Hang on, I remember recently as well. Alex Jones. I can't remember who it was that died. Rockefeller, wasn't it? Who died? Alex Jones basically made a video celebrating that as well. For his old globalist, bullshit. The bullshit's.
We're fighting the globalists.
Yeah,
Listen, people.
He did a similar thing to Cenk, where he sort of celebrated someone else's death, and it's just you'd expect that from a teenager maybe, but
A
not
decent
from a
amount of people
fucking.
Yeah,
were
you know what I
celebrating
find-
his death.
you know what I find really funny is that off topic to this, but when Paul Joseph Watson links an article, and 99% of the time it's the shit he writes, and I'm like, it's not really fucking independent shit. It's the shit you write from your own fucking crazy ass brain, which I'm sure you fucking sold it to the devil at this point because you have nothing in there, and he just sends you this shit. It's like, oh, here's proof that the evil globalists are there. Let me see. Who wrote this? Paul William Watson. Oh, okay. So it's just confirmation bias at this point.
Like the only way I would trust a post like that if the article itself had links to other articles, not from Infowars, like collaborating stories.
Like, fuck, Jesus, fuck. I mean, see, this is
But-
my whole problem with the whole fucking thing is that
Infowars
everyone's
isn't,
so fucking bunkered down in their bullshit. Every single side's so fucking bunkered down. Like this fucking comment here. I'll be the same when that evil-looking imp Soros finally kicks it. That's no fucking different. You're just as
come on.
You are just as
come
shitty as
on.
Cenk, for fuck's sake.
I hate Le Pen, but I don't want it to die. Jesus Christ. I hate Farage. I don't want to fucking die. I just want, comeuppance, and it's kind of like, hey, fucking
It'd be
loses
like-
all this money,
It'd be like if
That's
Hillary
enough for
it'd be like
me.
if Hillary Clinton kicked the fucking bucket tomorrow, and then hours, just not even hours, but minutes after it comes out that she's dead, everyone on the fucking right and everyone who didn't like Hillary just start shitting on her and starts trying to score fucking brownie points.
I know exactly what will happen.
Fuck.
I know exactly what will happen. People will spam the song. It happened with Thatcher as well. People will try and get the song "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead" to number one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you know what? I think what will happen? People will still say, "Yeah, but Hillary." It's like the fucking woman is dead, and you're still using it as like, "Oh, what about Hillary? She's dead."
No, but I mean that's the way I feel whenever I see any of like the Hillary for prison people out currently. Like, whoa, why isn't Hillary in jail now? It's like she lost. You don't have to.
Could you imagine if someone just came into the stream and like they're like, "What? Hillary is dead?"
But see, this is my inherent problem with I don't care what side you're on. I'm a centrist for a fucking reason. I don't care what side you're on. North, south, east, west, left, right, up, down. I don't give a fuck.
Hang
The
on.
minute-
Someone in the chat has said, based on your guy's stance, was it bad for people to celebrate Hitler's death? No, because that was different. It was a war situation. Because
Yeah.
Hitler's death signified the end of the war, the end of the Holocaust, which was killing more of other people.
Yeah, last
At least
last
with
I
regards
checked,
to,
last I checked, Roger Ailes,
and I think
George Soros, Hillary Clinton, whatever it is. Last I checked, these people have not been trying to fucking conquer the world and killing millions of fucking people.
well, then they'll
Intentionally.
go, but most suffrage and things like that, and it's like, well, that's you don't know for certain. I think there's
Yeah, well, that
definitely
shit's
conspiracy
unsubstantiated. There's no fucking evidence for it.
Yeah.
I am more than happy to admit, the Seth Rich situation, all the other people who have died connected to Hillary and the DNC, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I am more than willing to admit that it's possible. It's possible Hillary and the DNC may have
I
had
think
these
it's
people killed.
probably likely in a
It's-
sense.
Are we talking about
but,
Seth
I'm
Rich
willing
now?
to at least I'm willing to at least admit it's possible, maybe even probable.
I think it's likely.
But I'm
in
not
the,
going to make
Seth Rich
any
case.
judgments whatsoever until some legitimate fucking evidence pops up.
But I mean, just like the executive action of one person against their political enemy, that's frightening. Like, even if she's responsible, just being able to pull that action like right after the election would be fucking terrifying.
This is what basically the point I was trying to make is that I do not care what side you're on or where or whatever or what your leanings or ideological positions may be. I don't care. If a tragedy occurs, if someone fucking dies, be them by their own hand, old age, an accident, murder, whatever it may be, for fuck's sake, have a little goddamn decency. Calm the
But
fuck
that's-
down
but
and
that's too much to ask
do not
me.
use
That's too much to ask
do
when you're
not
trying
use
to
these fucking
get your political
corpses.
points.
My point is, don't use these fucking corpses as a goddamn stick to
hang on,
beat
I'm
your
gonna-
opposition with.
I've got a decent point to make because when Fidel Castro died, I think this is an interesting point to make. A lot of people were sort of saying, was sort of celebrating his death and then mocking people like Jeremy Corbyn and Justin Trudeau, which they deserve mocking for, in my opinion. They they painted, you can say despite there are ways to sort of handle it, like
They painted him as a hero.
yeah, don't paint them as a hero, but don't necessarily.
Well, and that's
unless they-
understandable, but 'cause
it's a a really fucking tricky situation.
I know, but
actually.
that's
He's not a hero.
kind of
He's
the
not the
point.
devil. He's
It's-
somewhere in between.
It's fine to look at someone's death objectively, and if they were generally a decent person, it's fine to at least recognize that. It's if they were inherently a bad person for the most part, then it's fine to kind of at
And I
least
think,
recognize that as well. But
Castro,
goddamn it,
Castro crossed the moral Rubicon, in my opinion.
he
whereas,
absolutely did. But
Roger Ailes, I don't think did.
Well, here's the thing with the Castro thing, because we're trying to build up relations with Cuba right now, so it would be extremely counterproductive to come out officially and say, fuck Fidel Castro, I'm glad he's dead, while we're trying to make amends with his brother to open up their markets.
which is an understandable position because depending on where you are in the field, because politicians do obviously have to be very careful about this shit. The media does have to be very careful about this, but at the same time, you don't need to shit on the guy, but you especially don't need to sing his goddamn praises.
Right.
You know what? For me, I don't like the fact that obviously a person died, but I'm glad that the icon died. It's kind of like what he represents is dead, but I'm not glad him as a person is dead. You know, I can at least go, yeah, you know what? I'm glad that this, you know, this kind of political symbolism of him is gone, just because it got to the point where it's kind of like, okay, seriously, the Cold War is over. Be like China. Enough with this bullshit communism. It's not working. But on the other hand, I'm sad that he fucking died, because I'm not gonna fucking dance on his grave. It's like, yeah, Castro is dead, because I'm not a dick and at least have some respect for people who die.
And
I would
see,
say there's only one person I would really just celebrate their death, and that is Kim Jong Un, because that means the liberation of his people.
Yeah.
even Kim Jong Un, Fidel Castro, Kim Jong Un, Putin doesn't fucking matter. You know, Ayatollah Khomeini and all those others does not fucking matter. When it happens,
Well, Khomeini's
when it
dead.
happened,
He's already dead.
I'm just using examples, but when it happens, you don't need to sing their praises. You don't need to shit on them. You can acknowledge that they've died. You can be objective about it and level-headed about it. Just to be like, you know, okay, this happened. Or you can, you know, at least offer condolences to, you know, anyone who may have supported them, et cetera, or family, or any of that. But you don't need to put any kind of positive or negative political spin on it. You can do that later. It's like right when they die, and for at least give it a couple goddamn weeks before you start pulling out your political stick and tying their fucking corpse to it and then swinging it around. I mean, it's basic fucking decency. Otherwise, you're just coming off as just basically just classless. There's no class to it.
Yeah, it's basically like, yeah, it's like going to somebody else's funeral and literally teabagging their grave as they're putting the coffin in. Like, if those people beat and you're sober, you're not drunk, and then, you know, people around you just start beating you up, it's kind of like, hey, you fucking deserve it. You're disrespecting somebody else's fucking dead.
I mean, you know, that's because I don't see this getting any better, because I can vent about this shit all I want, and I can, you know, go on and on about it, about, you know, god damn it, people, calm the fuck down. But, you know, I don't see it getting any better. I can only see it getting worse from every end of the spectrum. And so, you know, that's why I kind of take a playbook out of fucking, who's that Scottish comedian? Fuck. What's his name? God damn it.
Frankie Boyle.
Yeah, Frankie Boyle.
What about him? I'm just back.
I can kind of take a book from Frankie Boyle and a joke he made about, you know, if it ever comes to it where, you know, I am successful or popular enough or whatever, that people, you know, would have one reason or another to, you know, hate on me, shit on me, or praise me, or whatever it may be. You know, at that point, I take a page from Frankie Boyle's book. You know, I hope I'm buried at sea, so that all the people who want to dance on my grave fucking drown. Because god
That's a pretty
damn.
good quote.
But
Yeah,
then
it is. I love that
makes pissing on your grave really easy.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: in the town where Mussolini was born, there's, you know, his fucking grave, you know, family grave, mausoleum, whatever you want to call it. And my grandfather was a partisan. He fought against Mussolini, was tortured and stuff. And at one point, they did actually go and see the grave, and you have to kind of go inside. My mom went inside, but my grandfather said, "I'm not going inside. You know, I fought against them, but if you want to go, I don't care." And you know what? That's fine. I mean, my grandfather was being respectful. You know, I'm not gonna go piss on the grave or shit on the grave or spit on the grave. You know what? The guy's dead. What the fuck do we need to piss on him anymore? He kind of got his shit kicked out of him on the last few days.
Well, honestly, that's kind of how I wish people could just take shit like this from now on. I wish people could just recognize the fact that, well, they're dead now, so moving on.
Good point.
I mean, I don't go to the cemetery. I don't go to the cemetery and piss on somebody's grave that I don't like. I'm not an idiot, and I'm not an asshole. First of all.
Yeah, it'd be like if I found out that the guy who used to bully me in high school, that he died in some accident or whatever, and I found out where he was buried, and I went and just pissed on his grave. That is No fucking different. It'd be no different.
That's crossing a line. You're
It'd be-
pissing on someone who can't even fight back.
It'd be no different than, you know, if I were the bully and the person I bullied killed themselves and I started, you know, pissing on their grave or getting up and singing their goddamn praises, whatever it may be. It's tasteless. It's completely tasteless. It's completely degenerate behavior. God. I'm so goddamn sick and tired of people. I legit hate damn near everybody right now. This whole thing just pisses me off. Jesus.
You're not the only one.
Let the hate flow through you.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of get Paul Joseph Watson. I get him now just because he's a fucking crazy lunatic. It's like, well, what the hell do you expect from him? He probably never leaves his fucking house.
Well, even the alt-right thinks he's a fucking hack, so...
Yeah, and so when now it's pretty much predictable the shit he puts out is either the truth or what they're not telling you. And I know he's always going to blame the left or the globalist or the Marxists. He's never going to blame, you know, capitalism or anything like that. He's always going to blame the left.
Which is funny because it's even if you say, okay, capitalism is the problem here, it doesn't make you inherently anti-capitalist, you know?
Yeah, I mean, have you seen his video, his one about the terrorist attack that was at the parliament in London? I know this is old news, but it was like, as soon as that news happened, I was like, I bet Paul Joseph Watson is going to make a video entitled The Truth of, and literally 2 minutes later, video comes out, oh, okay, let me see it.
I think I got blocked. I think that's around the time I got blocked by him on Twitter when I made that. It was just before the attack, I think. I made that meme of him as Cobra Commander.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
And,
do you still have that?
Yeah, it's basically... it's the G.I. Joe cartoon, and it's got... the cartoon says, that hissing pool's on the TV again. And then it cuts to Paul Joseph Watson going, well, imagine my shock as Cobra Commander now. So you see Cobra Commander animated with Paul Joseph Watson's voice. And he's just like going on a rant about the mainstream media.
Yeah.
So,
and so...
And then I made another one where I got a clip from... It was actually kind of a recent episode of The Simpsons where... Homer goes, liberals, I hate them so much. And then I had Paul, actual Paul, juxtaposed over that, so it looked like he was saying that.
Yeah, so I mean, the video is like first minute, oh, there was this terrorist attack, London, stuff like that. People died. It's like, okay, that's what a TV news station would do. And literally after that, how did the leftists react? It's like, okay, Paul, somebody needs to come to your house and drag you outside to make you, breathe in fresh air. Your brain is just, I believe he has taped his entire windows, and that apartment is just filled with filtered air and carbon dioxide. It's just his brain is just starved of oxygen.
See, this is why I can't show any love to I don't care if it's Paul Joseph Watson, I don't care if it's Alex Jones or Cenk Uygur or any of these fucking people. I can't show any of them any goddamn love because they're all just fucking ideological maniacs.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about how competition should work. One side should try and do better than the other, both sides. I don't know, it just seems like in the past few years it's gone into a death spiral of everyone like that in reverse. Everyone's trying to be worse than the other. No, not even, but like be the worst person and then competitively try and be worse. It's like reverse Adam Smith principle. I don't know.
Well, not even that. I think it's well, if they're allowed to be that bad, why can't I be that bad? It's kind of that philosophy. I think.
Well, conflict hurts. Has to leave. So, thanks for joining the discussion and everything. I'm glad to have you. Hope I'll have you on another stream in the future.
All right.
You have yourself a good one. All right. Continue.
But
yeah, you were saying something, Pillow. Do you have anything to add?
I think I was finished.
Okay, I was finished saying what I was saying.
Inherently, this is the problem. Like as you mentioned, that it's just been, going down. It's just been going down and down and down, worse and worse and worse. And that's inherently the problem. That's the inherent problem.
It's
is
the
that,
idea they're behaving like children, therefore we have to behave like children to talk to them. No, you fucking idiot. If you believe that you're smarter than them, then you don't act like a child. You act like a fucking adult. You don't go around
that's
going,
the inherent
look
problem.
at
Is
them
that
liberals.
that's the inherent problem? Is that both sides are so stuck in their
What do you
ideological
even
positions,
say,
and all of
Luca,
them.
then?
No, I was saying that what I hate about it is that they see their oppositions. Sorry, they
No,
see
what
their
did you
opposition.
say in that funny voice? Look at them liberals, was it?
Like, look at them leftists and stuff. Look at them. It's like it sounds like a child on a kindergarten mocking the other child. You just want to go over there and slap them both on the head and says enough.
I love that voice of yours.
Oh,
yeah, I can do
believe me,
many
I would
voices,
slap all
kinda
these. I would slap all these fuckers if I could. But
I
this
can
is
do
this is
kind
the
of a
inherent
Barney
problem: is that
voice,
both
so-
sides are just so stuck in their ideological positions and
I mean, this
so desperate to get one up on the other that it's just no wonder things are just getting worse and worse. It's because it's a consistent downward spiral in and of itself, but the fact that they feed onto each other and they just sink deeper and deeper, quicker and quicker, is just making it so much worse.
Well, I mean, not even like a both sides left right thing. I mean, like the old media versus the new media. So you have a lot of people like, oh, we're the alternative, the new media, and we're coming out. But one, it's reliant on the old media to actually send journalists out and get information for its sources. And then two,
I'll actually say something. To Rebel Media's very little credit. They at least have some sort of staff that are willing to go out and investigate some of these things. To
They
their very
do.
little credit, at least they have that.
Yeah, at
But-
least they're not like fucking TYT, who just basically takes everybody's
Right.
shit and tweets, and they're like, let's go to graphic number 9, and oh my god, I'm
Yeah,
gonna comment on this now.
Infowars does the same thing, and on top of that, they fucking write their own shit and uses as independent sources. Here's a source saying that
Right.
Muslims are evil, written by Paul Joseph Watson.
But then what they produce, even if they do actually send people out, is just as flawed and narrative driven as the old media it's claiming to be better than. In no way is it the superior.
It's even worse because at least even fucking Fox in its worst days, the Obama, days, the early Obama days where Fox was at its absolute worst, you didn't see them going, look at these liberals. This is what the anti-Trump movement looks like with Antifa in the background. It was never that.
Because see, the mainstream media at least has some goddamn standards they have to abide by. The alternative media, on the other hand, is just they are so much goddamn worse because they don't have these same standards, and so they can be as biased and they can be as politically one way or another, and they can be as outrageous as they feel like it. They aren't held to the same standard.
The problem with people not living up to ethics in journalism is that we feel the need to live up to have any kind of ethical code at all. Of course, that's the problem.
And you know what I hate the most is that they called, look at the liberals. I think they're so entitled and stuff they're like, they think they're entitled to have their opinions be put up on a fucking plaque of gold. And it's like, okay, well, you can report Joseph Watson. He thinks he's the fucking messiah of the truth.
I mean, it's why you can't take any of the people singing the praises of the alternative media highly, because half of it is parasitically attached to the mainstream media. It can't really replace it, and the other half is
like imagine if
not worse than what we already have.
Imagine if tomorrow the old media died. They just fucked off, went away, ended. How the fuck would Sargon report or anything? He would actually have to get out of his fucking house, off his fat ass, and go somewhere. It's like, okay, I guess I have to go to Iraq and report on shit, because where the hell am I going to get my sources from, except from,
People take it for granted, man. It's Stoicism philosophy. Once something is gone, you realize how much that had an impact on you. You don't realize, you need to sort of cherish things while you still have them, in a sense.
I mean,
it's gone.
I still trust the newspapers in my country. They haven't gone fucking insane like, some media in America or in England, but I still trust them. It's kind of like sometimes they say some bullshit, but, free press and anything, they're allowed to fucking report whatever they want.
Actually, I've seen V mention this, and I always thought this was just good advice. Like, this is what I've always done, is like take you're going to always end up with some kind of bias in the reporting. So take the same story from multiple sources and compare and contrast what they're talking about.
Yeah, and then you can get some kind of truth from it. I mean,
Yeah, what lines up, what's different, what's empathized, and just keep in mind that there are going to be intense narratives and biases, and you should be fine. And I don't understand why people feel the need or feel like it's a good idea to have their one news site.
yeah, I tend to use multiple sources. The ones that I personally find reliable, I mean, not 100% of the time, but generally reliable are ones like, I use BBC a lot because I'm British. I've sort of been indoctrinated into the BBC kind of thought, but they're generally okay. Also, Reuters are pretty good.
Reuters, yeah.
Who else? Papers like the Guardian, the Telegraph, and the Times. Although the Times is behind a paywall, I think the Guardian and the Telegraph sort of cancel each other out in terms of bias. I think the Guardian's probably a bit worse than the Telegraph, actually. And New Statesman and what's the other one? The Spectator. That's the one. The sort of British magazines, the left and the right magazines in Britain. Although not many people read those, but they're still good. But for that, although they could sometimes put up bullshit. That's about it for sort of the British sources. I remember I used to fucking like Huffington Post. God, I was an idiot. What other sources are there?
I guess basically, given the tone of the conversation, that for the most part we seem to have gotten off the primary topic of the reactions of reactionaries, etc., etc. And so at this point I'm going to officially say that the stream is now open forum, regardless of topic. So whatever interesting thing may be going on, whatever you want to talk about, go.
I'll keep it somewhat on topic because my next video is sort of going to be addressing this sort of the unacceptance of oh fuck, I've got to close my game and actually look at what I called it. The inconsistencies of unacceptance is what I'm going to be calling the next video, man. And it's sort of going to be going over why is it okay when your side does it, but horrible when the other side, the enemy, does it, and why are people who sort of sit back and offer perspective and try offer quality control on their own side are so demonized by the more sort of loyalist warriors in a sense fighting the war. Like that's something I really want to sort of look into and go over.
Essentially, from what I grasp, covering the issues regarding double standards and the way we hold, and the way we hold both our opponents and ourselves to account.
Yeah, and Paul, no, not Paul Joseph Watson. I don't know why I brought him up there. It must be natural because he's such an idiot. But
he's on your mind so much. Are you one of those? Are you one of those gays for PJW?
Am I one of those triggered leftists he's always talking about? No, but
oh god! Every single time he brings up the leftists, you just want to just go into the screen and just slap him a few times and say, "Grow the fuck up and get out of your house. You're becoming a fucking crazy person. You've gone insane."
But I was saying about. I was saying about Christy Winters and Charming Man. Like, I don't know if I make sort of a direct response to them. If I do, it'll be on my second channel, but it'll definitely sort of cover that aspect of it because they both made videos sort of indicting me as some kind of tribalist on one side or the other. Charming Man's calling me an SJW. Christy Winters is implying I'm some evil prosecutor. And it's complete nonsense on both sides, man.
And see, that's why.
Wait, Charming Man's that true?
That's why that's why it can be so difficult being in the middle sometimes, is that no matter it doesn't matter, where in the middle you kind of hover. inevitably, the extremes of either end are just gonna basically just shit on you the entire time. You know, because how dare you call both sides out equally?
Mhm.
Yeah, how dare you call both extremes? You must be biased.
Yeah, how dare you?
No.
How dare you call out social justice warriors for their bullshit and hypocrisy and all that nonsense? And,
Yeah.
and oh, you must be some fascist Nazi alt right scum. You fucking racist, sexist,
Yeah, and
homophobic,
on the,
misogynist.
and on the other side, oh, how dare you call out our God Emperor worshipping Trump, peace be upon him, shit. You know, how dare you say that he's mishandling fucking shit in his
Yeah,
country?
how dare you call
He
out
has
the
been
alt
evil
right? How dare you
globalist.
call out white nationalism? How dare you call out God Emperor Trump? You must be some social justice warrior. You must be some regressive fucking leftist. You piece of shit. You fucking liberal.
Yeah, it's you know what I want to do is make a cartoon where you see Dave Rubin and Sargon and Porter Watson moving the center of the political spectrum towards the right, and you know you have on the political spectrum you have communists, socialists, social democrats, center, you know, the actual center, uh, moderate conservatives, you know, I would put in libertarians as well there, conservatives, nationalists, fascists, and Nazis, and then you just see them just shoving this thing towards the Nazis, and they're just yelling at the people behind them, "You're fucking communists!" Like literally to the people behind them. And the people on the left, of them are just sort of going, "What the fuck is going on here?"
See, that's the funny thing about, you know, being stuck in the middle and getting, you know, flack from every end. It's, you know, inevitably the funniest part about it is that, you know, there's that whole fucking meme about, you know, oh, the regressive left. Funny part is
Yeah,
both sides are doing it.
Yeah,
Both.
the retrograde right. That's what I talk about with the retrograde right.
Yeah,
not everyone who's against AWs are retrograde right.
It's not just the regressive left reeing out of their goddamn minds. The retrograde right is doing it too. It is just sitting here stuck in the middle. It's just a re-storm.
Well, I'm not sure I'm middle. Here's my position. I don't want to legislate people's feelings. That's all. That's basically describes it. And I guess that puts me, for the most part, or has put me in like the anti-SJW crowd. But now there's
well, of course, because you're not putting feelings above facts. You're not taking people's feelings primarily into consideration. You aren't concerned with how offended they are. So, oh my God, you must be a fascist.
No, but now it's going the other way. I don't know. It's like a new moral standard, vice signaling, or like if you look, you can't look like you care or give any kind of genuine condolence because that's virtue signaling. You have to, you know, just like say the most misanthropic thing you can, or else you're virtue signaling. Like,
yeah, I mean, like you have, for example, I see on the SJW side, you have to be super compassionate to everyone that's around you. You have to fucking never speak to them because you might hurt their fifis. And on the right side, you see, you have to be a total douchebag. You have to punch people in the face. You have to kick them in the dick. You have to, you know, rape them. And it's like, can we just find a middle where we can at least be honest with each other without, you know, being overly aggressive?
Can't we find a nice, comfortable middle where people are just, I don't know, maybe this is, you know, kind of an extreme thought here, but
yeah, like I'll
say people be, I don't know, decent fucking human beings? How about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say.
I know it's an extreme position. I know it's asking for a lot, but you know, can we at least try to be decent fucking human beings?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna, if somebody is an asshole, I'm gonna call them an asshole, but I'm not gonna fucking do it on principle to everyone. Oh, you're an asshole because you're in front of me. It's like, no, that's not how, you know, the sane world works.
Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you fall on the ideological spectrum. It's because the minute you start hating on your opposition and just treating them like shit and trying to dehumanize them, thanks Steve Shives, then you're not doing yourself or your position any service. You're not doing any service whatsoever. It's because if it doesn't matter if you're on the left, speak to the people on the right. Maybe have some friends over there. Ideological differences and disagreements
you know what?
should not dictate discussion. It should not dictate friendships. It should just
Yeah,
be,
I mean,
that's what it is. It's a topic. Talk about it.
yeah, I mean, I've talked towards right-wing people about renewable energy and getting out of fossil fuels, and I've had decent discussions with them. We talked, hey, how about we we reinvest money into nuclear power, we get out of fossil fuels because I actually it's not the green hippie. I tell them, look, this stuff is inefficient because you just burn it quickly and use it quickly. Whereas, nuclear power with, the uranium, you can power it for about 5 years and you can get more out of it that way. It's in terms of efficiency, and they do agree. Yeah, this fossil fuel shit is inefficient.
And see, that's the point. The point is, it doesn't matter what your ideological positions are. Speak to your opposition. Have civil discussions with them. Maybe reach some kind of middle ground. There's nothing like I know that guy T loves to shit on centrists and all that crap like that, and shit on people who try to find a middle ground. But it's like okay, calm your fucking tits. You're not holier than thou. You are not God. You do not know better. Your position is not inherently perfect and right and utopian. So shut the hell up. Maybe at least talk to people you disagree with. Find a middle ground. There's nothing wrong with finding a compromise.
Well,
that's the best way that's the best way society actually fucking progresses. Is when people find a compromise.
So Dr. Lehman did a video, the one he did on Armored Skeptic, where he laid out a definition of centrism that I thought was interesting, where it basically wasn't moderate or middle position. It was just non-ideologic, like focusing on adopting policies based on whether they would work or not. More of like, I don't know, an empirical look at politics instead of ideological.
Well, and that's essentially what the centrist position is it's looking at reality, and it's taking the best options that are available, rather than it's serving reality rather than serving a narrative, is essentially what it is.
But I mean, as a centrist, you're not always going to take a middle position or a moderate position on something. It just means you're not going to take everything as a group deal. So you can say, we're going to have single payer health care, but we're also going to have guns.
Well, yeah, essentially, because what being a centrist primarily falls to is, being a centrist doesn't mean you're always right there in the fucking middle. You're not just stuck right there in the middle ground constantly. Some of the positions you might take might be quite a bit far left. Some might be a bit far right. Some might have a nice little happy middle ground, or anywhere in between. But
T wants to. He has too much faith in that political compass, where it's like, no, you have to. Because that's what he thinks centrism is. That it's just moderate decision on everything, for the sake of being moderate.
Well,
yeah, and he wants this perfect ANCAP society where nobody will hurt each other because of the non-aggression principle, which, let's be fucking fair, somebody needs to give him a book about history and say, yeah, show me where that has ever happened. We're pretty violent fucks. It's still gonna happen. If you fucking do this shit, you're gonna be dead the moment you walk out the door. I'm sorry.
That's what I love most about like T and a bunch of all these other ANCAP people and their fucking, stateless capitalist society or whatever it is, and every single one of their goddamn positions can be argued away with so much ease. And there's only one goddamn thing, one piece of evidence you need to argue against either of these extremes in their positions: human fucking nature.
Yeah, I mean, they both think that humans are perfect.
I'd say another thing in the case of T, roads.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at anarcho-capitalism and you look at communism, they're both ideologies that predicate that humans are perfect and will not fuck each other and will just follow this shit. And communism, if you read it, it's the idea that there will be a communist system, but there will just be a stateless system where everything is communal. Whereas anarcho-capitalism is just basically, yeah, there's still this stateless system, but everything is private. And I'm like, yeah, well, have you tried that? No, I will guarantee it will fail like fucking communism.
Yeah, there's a very distinct reason why examples like working examples of either of these extremes, there's a good reason that the sample sizes are extremely small. Like these stateless fucking communes or whatever you want to go for. Yeah, you're lucky if you can maybe get a couple dozen people into that before shit starts hitting the fan. Same with the ANCAP people. You're lucky if you can get a couple dozen people before just shit goes sideways. It only works on very, very, very small sample sizes.
They both end with you huddling down in a bunker with your family, armed with assault rifles, waiting for the state to come bomb you, while everyone else goes about their day.
Well, unless the commune you happen to be in also happens to be a hippie commune, in that case, you're just too stupid.
Don't know.
In that case, you're just too stupid to even consider the possibility that the state might come, because hey, you're too busy doing your drugs and fucking your friend's wife.
Well, yeah. I don't know which one would be better. Would you rather live in like a extreme ANCAP gun commune, or they would both have weeds. I feel like the hippie commune would have better drugs.
Yeah, but at least the hippie commune is not full of guns and, fucktards who will, use them against you. Okay, maybe in the hippie communes there will be shivs, but, with a gun, I can pretty much stay far away from you and just shoot you. With a shiv, I actually have to get close to you. So, you can use that.
Yeah.
But it's just that guy T. As soon as taxation is slavery, it's like pointing a gun at me. I'm like,
yeah, taxation is slavery, and also children are property. What?
Like, can we just bring this guy to the southern part of Italy and make him deal with the mafia? It's kind of like, okay, here's an actual organization. We'll fucking kill you if you don't pay your dues. Have fucking fun.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't recognize the mafia as legitimate because they're a hierarchy, and that goes against the ANCAP ideology.
No. I think they've said it would be foolish to go against hierarchy. It just has to be a voluntary hierarchy.
Oh, it's a voluntary hierarchy. You get paid for it, if the boss dies.
That's the funny thing, though. Every hierarchy is voluntary. No hierarchy is necessitated by human nature or whatever else. Every hierarchy is voluntary because we all agree inherently, one way or another, in one form or aspect, that it's good. Whatever the hierarchy may be, we need it for security, for stability, etc., etc. You cannot, and that's what these anarchist people just don't fucking grasp.
And also,
is that you cannot have a stable, secure, functioning society,
here's the thing.
A nation without hierarchy.
We are already an ANCAP society because you have every right to not pay your taxes or do any of that shit, and you have equal opportunity to fight off the entire United States government when they come to collect on that shit. They're going to claim it as their property, and you claim it as your property.
Here in the U.S.,
you're going to have to settle that dispute.
Here in the U.S., we are all ANCAPs on the individual level.
Yeah.
But as a society as a society whole, yeah, we need the fucking state. We need the fucking state.
I would love to see an ANCAP sort of cabal of about 50 people trying to fight off like the entire police force of America, like actively trying to defend themselves like from it.
That would be.
Well, I guess there was Waco, Texas.
That would be the most tragic yet fucking hilarious bloodbath ever.
Have you ever looked at?
It doesn't have to be a bloodbath, man. Like just them pulled up in the building. I heard about that story in Texas, actually.
Waco,
do you know?
Texas,
Do you know about sovereign citizens?
Oh God.
Is that a group? I'm guessing.
No, it's the Google sovereign citizen after you're done with the stream, or no, YouTube it, because it's like people that think that the law doesn't apply to them.
Oh yeah, because do you remember that? I know Sargon featured it in one of his videos. It was that
They're classical liberals.
it was that girl and her friend who were in that car, and I know exactly where the fuck they were because they were driving through Imperial County, California, and that's where I used to live. So I know exactly where the fuck they were, and these people got pulled over, and the guy got detained, and the chick in the car just keeps on going on and on about, oh, we're a sovereign citizen, it's yada yada yada. You have no right, you have no right to detain us, etc., etc., etc. Oh well, yeah, we're in the United States, but we get all your rights, but we don't have to follow all your laws.
Yeah, it's
okay.
complete horseshit. Like, if you don't want to follow the laws, fine. You're just not going to get any of the rights in return.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so my sister is kind of a not very smart person. That
Wow.
well, one, she doesn't believe the moon landing was real. The other thing is, for some reason, she thinks if you're rich enough, you can annex yourself. Like, you can pay the American government and you will get a square of land where the law doesn't apply. Like your own.
Well, that's very technically true.
Question,
Only on
what is
technicality
she on?
there, because that's private property.
No, but even on private property, you can't just like murder people.
Yeah, I know that, but there are some other things that you can decide jurisdiction over. Like, you have jurisdiction over that private property.
No,
I'm not saying stuff like murder where it's enforced by the state.
right.
I'm
No,
saying-
no, but it's like where you can just become your own sovereign country, like fucking Peter Griffin on Family Guy.
Yeah, I knew you were going to reference
Yeah.
that. That's probably my favorite episode of Family Guy, actually.
Actually,
So-
it's a guy in America between two states who has formed his fucking own country. And people are like, yeah, I don't care.
So
Oh, yeah, here we
I
go.
spent
The
like
best way, like, I'm just going to talk about Family Guy just a sec. The best way they should use Peter in Family Guy is if he's doing something like grand and epic. Like, for example, the PTV episode is great also, because he's like trying to start his own network station to fight off against the executives from who are censoring TV and stuff. You know, that's great. That was when Family Guy was really fucking good.
Well, I mean, I guess the same thing kind of applies to Homer Simpson. Like, the best stuff is when he's starting up his own inventions or businesses or whatever, just like a complete moron trying to do something.
Oh my god! By the way, I found the video of that. I found the video of that sovereign citizen bitch.
Because Homer's like, you just sort of put him in an alien environment and then you'll get laughs. Whereas with Peter, he has to do something quite grand and epic, like so ridiculously, like epic that it's kind of stupid in a way.
By the way,
Or
I
rather
found
so
I found the video of that sovereign citizen free inhabitant bitch.
Oh, there's more of them, like people,
Oh, I know,
like
but-
sovereign citizens trying to argue for themselves in court, just like
Yeah, but this one was just
basically.
I know you guys aren't going to be able to. I know you guys aren't going to be able to see it, immediately as I see it. But if you're on the stream page, then you can view it in the stream because I got it up right now, and it's just it.
And I
It
just
is
hear
crazy.
myself.
It is crazy. Just Jesus.
We told you he's an Article 4 free inhabitant, so he does not have to have a license. This is on
It's like,
recording.
what the hell?
Article
What
4,
the
free
fuck is
inhabitant
this thing?
pursuant to
Oh,
the
you can't
Articles
detain
of
us because you broke the
Confederation.
law.
You can look it up. It's in the
Yeah, we
United States
can.
Book
You
of
broke the
Codes.
fucking
It is your
law.
laws you have to
Sorry.
follow.
No, it's like according to the
Never mind.
they think they live in ANCAP land, and they don't understand that like there's de jure and then there's de facto, like that like the power that backs the social contract is basically violence. Like,
How? How the fuck? It's like, do they just think that signing a contract with somebody, like even
Yeah.
for private property, is violence? We both agreed on the fucking terms. What?
they think it's
God,
like
this
a
was
magic spell where it's
Yeah,
like,
this feel like,
you know, they try and get you, and then they're just going to be like cursed into toads if they try and blow up the property.
Doesn't sound
Yeah,
far from
these
the
people are
truth.
like. Yeah, these people are like fucking the UKIP parties. Kind of like, this is evil, Yeah, well, you consider to every fucking point when you got in, so Sorry. We're sorry we both agree on the fucking terms and you said yes to every single one of them. So, you know, what the hell?
These people make me want to fucking drink. I'm sorry. Honestly, it's just so despairing that these people exist.
No, but I had to spend like an hour trying to explain to my sister, like, you know, if you annexed yourself from the U.S. government, you better make some fast friends with like Mexico or Russia, or else they have, you know, nothing to stop them from just annexing you back.
All right, Pillow, this is
Just
gonna be
say
like
the
a
same
hang on, Pillow, this is going to be a weird question, and it might catch you off guard a bit, but I'm legitimately curious. Are you black?
No.
You sound black.
Whoa, fuck.
You do sound black. Doesn't he sound black?
He sounds like a Tyrone.
Yeah.
Hello, my Negro. No, I am not black.
Thank God.
Wow, that's now crossing
I
the
know.
line.
I know. I went a little too far there. I know.
You flew too close to the sun on wings of wax.
I have that habit.
No, but honestly, I literally thought you were black based on your voice.
No, I actually have pictures of me on my Twitter.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
You have to show me after the stream.
I am white of German descent. I am the master race.
See, now
I
I feel
mean,
now I
the
feel a
most
little
people
bad
know
because I
about
am
me.
white as white can be.
Well, the most people know that I'm white because I had that picture with Spino, even though I'm wearing that hideous mask. You can see my hand, so I am not black. I am not Middle Eastern. I am not Chinese. Well, actually, I could theoretically be Asian.
You are as British as shit.
Welsh, I thought.
Yeah, Welsh, if
Yeah.
you want to be precise. But I'm
yeah,
not really
British.
Welsh. I'm more
British
sort of
without-
West England is probably the best way to describe it. So somewhere like Bristol would probably be an accurate way to describe where, like, my sort of accent or something like that.
Yeah, British without the hatred of Europe.
I only legit guess that you lived in Wales when you were telling me about all the goddamn animals you have. You're like, I have like 4 cats, I have like 3 dogs or some shit, and then you
Well,
I'm just
7
like
cats actually.
yeah, there we go,
and
like
3
7 cats and like 3 or 4 dogs, and I think there's some others I don't remember.
No, there isn't actually.
I'm just like
my sister.
I'm just like, well, you must have a lot of goddamn extra space. Must be Wales.
Well, not for any other particular reason, is it? You know, it's not like the Welsh have any sort of deep history with bestiality, though, is it? You know.
Oh no, not at all, not at all.
But the problem is like that so many people get that. That's you can give that dig to Scotland, Ireland, New Zealand.
Well, not so much Scotland and Ireland. New Zealand, definitely. Like, they're basically, if Australia was England, New Zealand would be Wales, in essence. Like, basically, loads of sheep and generally better at rugby than them.
All y'all just a bunch of goddamn goat fuckers.
Yeah, what I find weird about the UK is that you guys have not written your constitution down. That seems a bit odd.
It's all common law.
Well, it's because we have a monarchy, I think. That's why we don't really have a constitution. It's
Well,
kind of complicated.
Britain has gotten along well without a constitution thus far, but
Honestly,
I think
the monarchy should be abolished because I just think it's pointless to keep it around anymore. Like,
But
I'm going to sound like.
but the queen
Jeremy
is so adorable.
Yeah, wait until
Corbyn.
she's
No,
dead
if only,
and Charles gets in charge.
I am sick of seeing all the trashy tabloids. You know, one minute they're shitting on something that's completely unimportant, and then sort of a sub headline is, look how adorable Prince George is, and it's like, I don't fucking care. They're kids that are adorable regardless of their royalty. I don't fucking care.
All the modern royalty, maybe this is the result of the paparazzi being thing. They all seem kind of fucked up when they get to adulthood. Like it just
like Prince Harry is really, really depressed. I think he's tried to kill himself a few times.
Yeah,
actually.
like it can't be good for them.
You know, maybe it's just me, but I know I did see that the news not too long ago about Prince Philip essentially not doing any more official functions or anything.
Oh, Prince
he's
Philip is
95.
hilarious.
I am
He's
so
95, what the fuck do you expect?
I am so fucking disappointed. I am so disappointed that Prince Philip's not going to be doing any more official functions, because Prince Philip, as far as I'm concerned, he's the George Bush of the royal family. He even in an official capacity, he'll just say the funniest, horrible shit.
I know. My dad and my brother-in-law have both met him. Well, not met him personally, but like they've had sort of interaction with him, and both times he's asked where the bar was. So.
See, that's why.
It's like you just fucking see that. You just see him going, look, I just want to get drunk. I'm sick of all these fucking tourists and paparazzi. Just let me get shit faced.
See, that's why I'm gonna miss Prince Harry
There's
so
a really
much.
funny video of him where he's doing like a photo shoot, and he's like, "Just take the fucking picture." Like that.
See, that's why I'm gonna miss Prince. That's why I'm gonna miss Prince Harry so much. Not Prince Harry, but Prince Philip so much. Is he's just so goddamn funny, because he stopped giving a fuck decades ago.
I mean, we have
It's
the
like,
Duke of Edinburgh
British.
award named after him, so. And that's like sort of a big, for young people, that's a very sort of prestigious award. I don't know, what's the best way to describe it to Americans or people who aren't from Britain? It's basically, how would I describe it? It's, obviously you've got scouts in America, like the trials and tribulations you have to do in order to get it are very similar to the kind of things you have to go through in scouts and things like that. And in the end, you get this sort of, you can get a bronze Duke of Edinburgh reward, you can get a silver one, and you can get a gold one, depending on how many tasks that you complete. But
Essentially, it's like becoming an Eagle Scout.
Yeah, sounds like.
Yeah, except it means a bit more. Like if you put that on your CV in America, I don't think people would. I don't know how much it would count for in America, and it wouldn't count for overly much in Britain either.
Well, it depends, because if you can attain Eagle Scout, and you put that on your resume, then depending on who you hand it to, there's plenty of people who actually look at that with fairly high regard, because it is an institution that's held in high regard.
Yeah, I mean, in Italy, we got rid of our monarchy by a referendum. They support the fucking fascists, and we're like, no, fuck off, go away. We've had enough of you.
Well, Italy fucks everything up, so fuck them.
I mean, you were basically the test tube baby, if you will, for Donald Trump. So,
yeah, didn't end well. Didn't end well for us. We're still getting mocked for him, and people are like, "Oh, well, shut the fuck up. You voted him." Yeah,
let's be honest. At least he wasn't.
I have experience.
He wasn't literally Mussolini, though. I mean, Mussolini was Mussolini. He wasn't literally.
Well, we don't treat him like Mussolini. We're just saying, well, Trump is a fuck of a lot like Berlusconi. Now wait until the sex scandals drop in.
Berlusconi was a national and international fucking embarrassment to Italy, and we're not going to let you live that down for at least the next 15 years.
Yeah, you're just gonna be, it's like the Italian now, as Italians are like, we fucked up and you guys make the same mistake. We're just kind of staring at you with like that big smile, just nodding, kind of like, We're not even saying anything. We're just staring at you like that for the next 15 years. As if to say, well, now you fucked up too, so you have no fucking right to mock us.
To be perfectly honest, there's a lot of people in the world, especially here in America, there's a lot of people who genuinely have their fingers crossed. We're praying for another goddamn Berlusconi. Partially because it was fucking hilarious, and partially because it would kind of get some of the heat off Trump on the international stage.
Come on, Trump is always saying.
What I'm saying, like, what I'd say, I don't know the circumstances. I don't know who was running against Berlusconi when he got elected, but at least with Trump, you can sort of say, oh, he was running against Hillary, who's another terrible candidate in her own right. You know,
He was running against terrible.
Like, if he was running against something like Franklin Roosevelt or Teddy Roosevelt, you know, I'd understand why people would be so embarrassed. But he was running, even running against Hillary, you know, he was a shit candidate. I probably still would have voted Hillary if I was an American. But
well,
Hillary was a shit candidate. Like I
even if I had voted, I couldn't not bring myself to have voted for Hillary Clinton. I couldn't have.
Well, I would have voted for her sort of based on the basis that I tend to support the Democrats more on issues as opposed to the Republicans. That's probably why I'd support. You know, it'd be more of a Democrat vote as opposed to a Hillary vote.
Which is understandable, but that's exactly why we have, you know, several presidential candidates. Like, I could have gone up and down the Democratic ticket and voted Democrat on damn near everything, but when it came to that one little box for president of the United States, I would have had to skip Hillary over completely. I maybe, if I were drunk enough, I'd vote for Trump. Otherwise, I'd have probably handed my vote to Jill Steiner, Gary Johnson, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, you know what the funny part was is that the way Berlusconi got elected the first time, it was pretty much similar to the way that.
Do you know what's scary? Do you know what's scary in perspective is Gary? What is Aleppo was the most sane out of all four of those candidates. I know Evan McCullen was supposedly a decent candidate. He finished in 5th place. He was I forget the name.
Well, of course he finished in 5th place is because he was only on the ballot in goddamn Utah, and that's where the overwhelming majority of voters in Utah voted for McCullen, and that's just because he's a fucking Mormon. They're sticking to their own. It's that tribalist bullcrap.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Boy Scouts. Just for the record, to address Peter Layfield here in the chat. Yeah, sure, I'll fucking debate you, bitch. I'll throw down. Yeah, you think Hillary's bae? All right, fucking come at me, bro.
I voted for her.
Yeah, but yeah, the way Berlusconi got elected in the first place is just that he was just, you know, he presented himself as like Trump on outside, because we had this big corruption scandal in Italy, you know. Oh, corruption in Italy, what a fucking surprise. But it was really big. I mean, we had to basically launch a huge investigation to clean up the entire system. And he presented himself as, you know, oh, I'm not sorry, I'm going to do everything, I'm going to clean everything up. Got elected, stop the investigation.
He essentially presented himself as the swamp drainer.
Yep. And no, did he drain the swamp? Nope. Just made a shit ton bigger, a shit ton deeper, and a shit ton shittier.
Yeah. Wait, did Neil Gorsuch get in? I'm trying to.
God, that's a good question. I haven't checked. I think so.
Because. Yeah, his political position basically was so pro-lobbying. Like, lobbying is a fundamental right.
Yeah, kind of person who would say that lobbying should be certified in the Constitution or some bullshit.
Right. So it's like now has he not drained the swamp? He's put someone into place that will keep the swamp not drained. He put a plug, like an extra layer of shit over the drain. So for the rest of his lifespan,
putting someone like him in a position of power, that's not putting more crap on the plug. That's essentially walking down to the goddamn waste disposal facility, grabbing a hose, dragging it over to the swamp, and letting more dump in.
Yeah.
So
basically cementing the plug onto the
Yeah.
Cementing the plug and adding an extra hose of garbage.
Because he's in there for a long time.
I put in the link to the Wikipedia article of the 1994 election, which was the first one that he got elected in. And look at the background of the election and why he won.
Well, I'll definitely check that out.
And see if you spot a pattern.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out later.
I'm not looking right now, but I'm gonna guess the other candidates were accused of like corruption and.
Yeah, but he was also implicated in it, and he was also, I'm gonna defeat the communists. And he got elected.
back then that was still kind of a big deal.
Yeah, but 1994 it was the end of the Cold War.
Yeah, well, even at the end of the Cold War, that whole communist crap was still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, well, no, the thing was that in Italy, communism was never as much as despised as in, America or in the UK. Our Communist Party wasn't that crazy. They were like more open. They were actually after, I believe, the 70s, they said, fuck this dictatorship business. We're never going to get elected if we keep on the rhetoric of we're going to build this huge Soviet-style dictatorship, because we just came out of one. Fuck that shit. Let's just keep what we have and just put in more money to the welfare state. That was their fucking idea.
Yeah, well, we see how that's worked out.
Yeah, they never got elected, and then after the Cold War ended, pretty much the entire Cold War political system died, and Berlusconi came out of it. And then 9 years of him, and yeah, look what happened.
I miss Berlusconi. He was.
Not for us. We I don't miss him.
You had to suffer. You had to suffer into him. Wolf didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I hear all this populism bullshit, I'm like, yeah, and when they yell at me, it's like, oh, how fucking dare you? You have no right to criticize us. You and Berlusconi. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait up until you get fucked in the ass by your populists and then come cry to me. It's like, what do we do now? Fuck you. Stay like that. I don't care.
But here's the thing, like, I guess that still keeps us slightly ahead. You guys re-elected Berlusconi.
Yeah.
So
we haven't made that mistake yet.
The problem was that Berlusconi. Here's what happened.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
Here's what happened. Berlusconi made a law that made it impossible for him to get impeached whilst he was in office. He got kicked out because he was forced to resign because the EU said, look, you're fucking running this country into the ground. We're not going to bail you out. If you don't fucking leave, we're just not going to give you any more loans or anything.
Just another prime example of how the American system of government is better than Italy's, because we can't make laws that say, hey, you can't be impeached.
Well, thing is, this is interesting. Back in 2008, when the Tea Party was just funding its feet, everyone was like, oh, well, they'll never get into power. And now in 2016, well, he's not directly Tea Party by any means. It's definitely a more sort of Tea Party leader that is, leading the charge with regards to the Republicans. Whereas, and I think something much similar might happen in 2024. I think in 2020, the Democrats aren't going to learn from their mistakes. They're just going to run a Chelsea Clinton or just some person.
Oh God, I'm pretty sure they're already fucking grooming Chelsea for a 2020 run.
Or even someone like Michelle Obama, who might be a little bit better.
Michelle Obama already said she ain't gonna fucking do it.
But they're not going to learn from their mistakes. They're just going to run someone who,
of course,
is not. I could actually see
the Democrats are going to do. The Democrats are going to do what they always do in circumstances like this. What the Democrats are going to do is that they're going to double the fuck down, make things infinitely worse for themselves, until finally, out of sheer desperation, they decide, hey, maybe we should change up our tactics and go for a bit of a Hail Mary. And then by 2024, maybe they'll get somebody in there that could actually, run an appropriate campaign and actually win the presidency.
I think they'll probably run on someone like Harry Reid or someone maybe in 2020. Although I don't know if he's retired from politics now. I know he's retired from Congress.
They wouldn't run anyone like that. A little too old. I mean.
Guys,
honestly,
check it out.
as it currently,
and then in 2024, I could see a Justice Democrat. That thing could really sort of take off.
As it currently stands, I honestly can't think of anybody on the Democratic side who would make a viable and legitimate candidate, aside from if she played her cards right, Elizabeth Warren.
2024. Kyle Kalinske.
Yeah, guys, here's our.
Oh God, Kalinske and Uyghur 2024.
Klinsky has said that he won't, though.
Here, guys, here's our Minister of Foreign Affairs.
I could just imagine him, like, his presidential sort of weekly addresses. It would just be another sort of version of his show where,
He
Chris
has the same
Christie
setup.
said, Chris Christie said to Fox News that he would consider abortion a crime against humanity. What are you talking about, Chris? What are you talking about? Just the same sort of tone, just everything is the same, except he's president now. That would just be amazing.
Honestly, I don't. 2020, I don't think the Democrats could run anybody efficient. 2024,
Yeah.
2024,
Unless
I
Trump,
think
like,
if she played her cards right, I think 2024
Fox.
they might be able to pull
But let's
something
remember that
something
Trump
out of their
was a
asses.
massive outsider. Like, nobody expected him to even run. Like,
He was.
and even if he was going to run,
He was, but
if he was going to run, they were probably thinking independent, like Bloomberg or something like that. They didn't expect him to run under a Republican platform. They didn't
but
expect him to win
regardless,
Republican primary.
regardless by 2024, because again, 2020, I don't see them having a viable candidate. I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree.
2024, I can see it again if she plays her cards right. I could possibly see an Elizabeth Warren. Maybe.
But remember, 8 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Hey guys, here's our minister. Fox, you think Boris Johnson is a weird Minister of Foreign Affairs? It is our one.
I'm playing the game right now, so I can't
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys
Yeah,
could.
do not expect me to go open up articles middle of the stream right now because
Well, it's not an article. It's just a picture of him.
oh wait,
It's the last one.
Whoa, what the?
Yeah, that's what he looks like. He's
who the
like,
fuck? Wait, who the fuck is that?
That's our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Alfano.
That's your Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
He looks like a mix between Owen Smith, the guy who tried to run against Jeremy Corbyn in 2016 in Labour, and a psychologist that I used to see. Like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
look, all our fucking politicians look either like criminals or really weird. Like people, oh look at the UK. It's like no, we're fucking weirder.
The fucking chat. Peter Layfield. Warren is too old. She'll be 75 by 2024. Well, you know what? Fucking what? Bernie Sanders was 75 when he ran. I think Warren could do it.
I'm actually probably gonna head now. I'm do some stuff, so I'll catch you guys later.
Well, no, that's perfectly fine. Before you go, I think might as well just get it out of the way. But yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and it's been 2 hours, so I think we're gonna go ahead and end the stream now. You know, it was an absolutely interesting discussion. I'm glad you all popped on to have a talk.
Yeah, no problem.
And
anytime.
if you before you go, if you wanted to go ahead and chill yourselves out or anything.
Nope.
All
My
right.
humbleness will speak for itself.
Yes. Your humbleness is enough. That's all we need from you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all
So-
guys for coming on. I really appreciate it. All right. So, and we're going to